Welcome to the ATP Project. You're with your host, Steve and Jeff. G'day, mate.
How are you, mate?
Good, mate. I am looking forward to today's podcast, which is the top 5 beauty ingredients.
We don't need any of this.
Well, Steve, actually, you know, it's funny, man. I mean, like, I'm nearly 50 now. Like, I'm heading towards 50.
Poor old thing.
And, well, how old are you now, Steve?
Getting close to 53.
Yeah, right. It's funny, my dad was 52 when he had me. And actually,
mate.
he had amazing skin.
Did he?
Yeah, and I'll get into the secrets of that in a minute. But I think as you get older, and look, even I think it's mainly with girls, guys not so much. They want to preserve their good-looking skin. I mean, I've got a friend of mine who used to work here, Sam. She'll know who I'm talking about. And she used to take Botox. She had perfect skin, porcelain.
Now,
right?
can we say how old she was? She was fairly young, wasn't
Yeah, she was in her 20s, right?
Yeah.
And she was taking Botox because, and I said, why? You don't need it. And she's like, yeah, but I never want to get wrinkles, right? So she would use it as a prophylactic. Now, I don't know, Steve, whether you should or whether you shouldn't. I mean, and look, this podcast is talk, and for guys and girls. This is not just about women, by the way. Because as we get older, I don't want to be ugly, right?
No.
And I mean, you look at these people, you know, who are in their 60s and 70s who have looked after themselves, and they still are attractive, older-looking people.
Yeah,
and then you can see some people in their 50s, literally, that are...
Look like me.
They look like a snaggletooth. No, Steve, you don't look like a snaggletooth. But I think people are interested in things that they can do. And I think there's some myths, Steve, that we're going to cover, but we're going to cover some things that you can take and some things that you can do which are going to make an impact predominantly on the skin. But as we know, Steve, that old saying is that beauty is only skin deep. But really it's not, because beauty comes from diet, nutrition, environmental pollutants, sleep quality, hormonal imbalances. I mean, there is a whole gambit. Hydration.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about a lot of these things. But then we're going to break it down with the top 5 ingredients that you can take that have been scientifically proven to improve the appearance of your skin.
Absolutely, and that's where it all comes from. We now know what causes wrinkles. There are risk factors. Some of them we can avoid, some of them we can't. The ones we can't avoid is just physiological aging. That will increase wrinkles.
Yeah.
But the UV light, we can modify our exposure to that.
I've got terribly sun-damaged skin, Steve, and I also suffered a lot of cancers because when I was a young... boy in my 12, 13, 14, came from New Zealand. I just spent all my time at the beach. I barely wore a hat. The other thing I used to do as well too, Steve, when I was younger, is I used to have quite bad skin, like with acne and things like that. I wouldn't call it acne, but it was bordering, right? Yeah. And I used to find that when I'd go out in the sun, especially into the salt water, but also into the sun, get a little bit of sunburn, and it would clear up my pimples. And so I'd be like, sweet, there's a good treatment.
More the merrier.
Yeah.
If a little bit helps, the more you get burnt, and that'll help.
Tell you the other thing I used to do, which is terrible. I used to use hydroxy. What's the acid?
Hydroxyapatite? No.
The stuff you bleach your hair with.
You mean peroxide? Hydrogen peroxide?
Yeah, I used to use hydrogen peroxide on my pimples.
Well, it still works. They still use benzyl peroxide, which is a peroxide on the skin.
And I used to water it down a little bit and all the rest of it. And it's funny because I used to go to school and I'd have this my fringe was blonde.
Yes.
And it wasn't because I was trying to do it on purpose. It actually became a bit of a thing for a while there back in the late 80s. But I only got it because I was actually killing off my pimples, right? But I mean... That's got to dry out your skin pretty badly as well.
Oh, of course it does. It's a pro-oxidant to that. And I'm going to talk about how bad oxidation is in a sec. That's going to be one of the things that drive wrinkles. And so one of the things we're going to talk about is how to protect against oxidation, which is usually antioxidants. So there's lots of things we can talk about there too. So there's lots we can do.
So that's diet. All right. So Steve, let's talk about what probably most people know is going to cause poor quality skin, and then maybe you can fill in some blanks of some things that maybe people might not know.
Absolutely.
So we know that obviously oxidation, aging, sun damage, smoking, environmental toxins and or pollutants as well too.
Absolutely.
Lack of hydration.
Gee, hit the nail on the head. Low fat diets.
Right. Of course.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Vitamin E, I mean, obviously is very important for...
Very important.
Yeah.
There was a study done on this, actually, very interesting. It was published on aging Japanese women. It was about 10 years ago. And what they found was it was quite a large study, and they said, well, what are the people that aren't aging rapidly compared to the people that are aging rapidly. And one of the major factors were all the fats they were eating. That's very beneficial for your skin. But here's the interesting thing. Yes, fish oils are great, but it was monounsaturated fats and saturated fats were beneficial. And saturated fats were the most beneficial simply because they're the most resistant to free radical damage.
Right.
Does everyone know the chemistry of a saturated fat? Probably not. Yeah. They don't have any double bonds between the carbons, which means that they are very stable. And that's why with saturated fats you can cook with them, for example. You can cook them at quite high temperatures like coconut oil.
Yeah, yeah.
So their saturated fats are very, very good for the skin. That was something that surprised me.
Actually, I would have overlooked it, Steve, to be honest. And I think in terms of obviously hormonal support for guys and girls as well too, you know, fats are incredibly important for producing, you know, our hormones. Vitamin D as well too, which is also obviously very, very powerful immune enhancement product as well too. So
you mentioned hormones. There's a few studies on hormones.
Yeah.
The first thing is that women develop develop wrinkles when they go through menopause.
Right.
And they found that's a lack of estrogen.
Right.
Okay. But the other side of the coin is that if they have full-term pregnancies, the more full-term pregnancies a woman has, the more wrinkles they get.
Really?
Yeah. So is it the kids stressing them out, or is it the fact that they are depleting their collagen by growing another human being in their tummy for 9 months?
Okay. So, and the other thing I want to talk about in this podcast as well too, Steve, because we're talking predominantly about aging and beauty. One of the other trigger words, I'm going to say a trigger word, Steve.
Say it.
Cellulite, right? Oh. Which for women is also probably one of those things that is something that if they've got it, they want to reduce it, and if you haven't got it, you want to prevent it as much as possible.
Yep.
So, you know,
I've got a study on that in here.
Okay.
So
we're going the full gambit on skin, Steve.
105 women tested, so quite a large study, and I won't give away the results because that's part of the treatment side of things. I want to give you some more bad news.
All right, give me some more bad news, Steve.
Okay. Certainly estrogen deficiency causes wrinkles. Have you ever seen women that are, and what they found was that women that are heavier have less wrinkles?
Yes.
And I was talking with our sound guy, Matt, and talking about it pushing it out and all that sort of stuff, and more fats and all that sort of stuff. But also they have more estrogen. So one of the benefits about being overweight is that, and there's not many, but one of them is you get more estrogen because you make estrogen from fat cells.
Yeah.
So that was one of the benefits about having a lot of weight.
Steve, I mean, obviously where we talk about estrogen, and again, as hormone specialists that you are and our team are, it's the right type of estrogen that you want, right? Because there's the 16-hydroxyproline, which is the bad one. Yeah. Yep. And 2-hydroxy is the good one. Good one. And so you want more of that.
Yep.
So again, with a lot of our fitness and figure competitors as well too, estrogen blockers, and we say it, anytime we talk about estrogen, we say that's one of the worst things that you can possibly do because you're throwing the good out with the bad.
Absolutely.
You've got to, and this is where detoxification using things like broccoli and sulforaphanes and those sorts of things, brassicas, are really, really important to incorporate into your diet, and or use supplements that are obviously, you know, have those things in there to support healthy estrogen. Because not only are you going to be fitter and leaner, you're going to have less associated issues with regards to, you know, premenstrual cycle, but you're also going to maintain good levels of the healthy estrogen.
Absolutely. And the other benefit of eating all these vegetables now...
The other benefit?
Benefit. Benefit of having these vegetables. I should be. Just had a few beers before I started.
Stop it, Steve. Stop it. Is that what you say? Peg?
Yeah.
I'll get a bonefit for you.
Well, not after the beers, I'm afraid.
No. Is that right, Droopy?
Yes, you know, brewer's droop. Actually, brewer's droop is caused by, the effects of being estrogenic, the hops. So very interesting. Not that I'd know. I don't know.
Just for a friend.
Yeah, for a friend. But if you have a lot of brassica vegetables, they're very high in antioxidants, such as the carotenoids.
Yes.
Does everyone know what carotenoids are?
Well, tell them, Steve.
They're the antioxidants found in colourful vegetables. Now, what they are is the plant grows and protect them from the sun. So you try and eat the more above ground plants because they're just sitting in the sun all day. And the way they put their sunscreen on is carotenoids. Now, when we eat carotenoids, we make a lot of retinol or vitamin A. And have you ever heard of vitamin A being very good for your skin, like retinol? bisphenol A.
Well,
blah,
I
blah,
think
blah.
they use that in that treatment for children that have got acne.
Yep.
What's that called again, Steve?
Isotretinoin, which is Roaccutane.
The Roaccutane.
Yeah,
thank you.
So isotretinoin's the medical name.
Yep.
And that is extremely. Now that's a synthetic form of vitamin A.
Yep.
And it's got horrendous side effects. Normal vitamin A.
We've actually done that on another podcast. So you've got to be very careful, especially about sun exposure. Actually, funnily enough, when you've taken it, right?
Yeah, because it dries out the mucous membranes.
Yep.
And that stops the acne, of course.
Yep.
But it's got terrible side. Now, natural vitamin A that you eat and from carotenoids is very beneficial for your skin.
So therefore, I mean, for example, again, while we're talking all things skin here, for people that have got problems with acne, would you say that then having foods that are high in beta-carotene and vitamin A, well, mainly it's beta-carotene, isn't it?
Yes.
Such as carrots, are going to be beneficial as part of a smorgasbord, Steve, of things that you eat?
Absolutely. And, if you're eating for acne, of course, you're having a lot of those fruits and vegetables, cutting out dairy, not cutting them down, you have to cut it out.
Yeah.
And cutting out things like...
Why cutting out dairy, Steve?
Dairy's full of two things that are bad for your skin. The first one is IGF-1.
Which all the bodybuilders are hearing going, giddy up, give me more of that.
Exactly, insulin-like growth factor 1.
Which helps with growth.
Yes. Now it grows also the pores shut in your skin.
Right.
So you don't get any of the oil release.
Right.
And you get a build-up of bacteria in the skin called QT bacteria or propionome bacteria acne.
Yeah.
And that gives you acne, obviously.
Okay. Yep.
The second thing in dairy is all the hormones.
Yep. Well,
like testosterone, estrogen, that, which is very bad for your skin.
Yeah. Well, we've done this Scary Dairy podcast. So if you're interested to know, because people are probably going, IGF-1, that's what I need to build muscle tissue. Oh, I don't have a problem with acne. I'm going to go and take it. Go listen to the Scary Dairy podcast. That might make you refrain, because there's more than one way to get IGF-1.
Well, testosterone dries up IGF-1. Have you ever known people that get acne from taking steroids? Yeah, that's why.
Yep.
The steroids drive up the IGF-1 and the steroids themselves increase acne as well. So you get double whammy, and you see a lot of guys that are middle-aged guys, I'll say, when I say middle-aged, I mean 30, 40-year-olds, that have acne all over them, and that's because of the steroids they're on.
Steve.
Yes.
Let's get back to the most important things here. So wrinkles.
Wrinkles.
So go on.
All right. Environmental toxins.
Okay.
They're bad for everybody.
Yeah.
But they're extremely bad for your skin because they cause free radical damage on the skin.
Okay. What about people utilising and talking about using sunscreen? But a lot of sunscreen, we use a natural one, Steve.
Yeah.
But a lot of sunscreens got long-chain hydrocarbons in there.
Yeah.
Which is from, mineral oils and other things like that as well too.
They don't protect against wrinkles. What they recommend is zinc-based
protection. Which is the old white.
Yeah, the old white thing or invisible zinc.
Yeah, you can get that now, right?
Yeah, and zinc is very good for your skin.
Yeah.
But guess how it's very good for your skin, very interestingly?
How?
It actually turns carotenoids into vitamin A.
Is that right? So therefore, for people with for people who are, because obviously all women's makeup pretty much nowadays has an SPF in there, right? Because they're saying, well, you've got to, but you'd be better off using a zinc-based one. But what does that do to your skin? This is the problem, Steve, right? With most moisturisers, you put them on, you can't even really tell. It kind of looks like a moisturiser, and so it's very easy for women to be able to say, well, I've protected my skin with my moisturiser, but I've also protecting from the sun damage as well too. How do you get around that?
Well, it's tricky. You got to have a balance, but you've got to remember that the sun is...
Someone should create a product, Steve, like that.
Yes. Well, what we're going to do is grow wrinkles good from the inside.
Right. Okay,
that's very different. We're not going to, because topical stuff is great, but it doesn't work long term. You want to grow the wrinkles out, and that's what we're talking. I forget the creams because they are good topically. They work for a short amount of time, but your skin, everyone knows skin grows from the inside out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to improve skin from the inside out.
Steve, it's interesting. I actually just on the way here was having a conversation with some incredible, and I don't want to steal your thunder here, but some incredible breakthroughs in technology, and one of the things that we're talking about was applications for health and wellness. And I can talk about this because this is not a product at the moment.
Okay, go for it.
Which is based on topical hyaluronic acid.
Yes.
But orally, there is unbelievable research on that.
Oh yeah.
And I'll come in at the end. So do you want to talk about hyaluronic acid? Because in terms of obviously all of the issues here, and this is probably one of the top 5 ingredients that you would have, Steve? And
It's number 2.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, you know what? Let's leave number 1 right to the end.
Okay.
Let's just come in with a big heavy hitter right now.
Number 2.
Let's start at number 2.
All right.
Steve.
No, that's good.
So no 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No, forget that.
No,
starting at 2.
We're starting at 2 because I mean, and of all the things, right? I don't care.
Yeah,
Steve,
yeah.
No, you can't stop me.
No, 2's fine.
Because I love hyaluronic acid.
Yeah.
And the reason why I love it so much, actually, Steve, is because of what the research that you and I were talking about the other day, and you were telling me about just how amazing it is.
Yes.
And I've taken that, Steve, and I've done something with it, and I'll add that at the end. But you tell me about hyaluronic acid.
Yeah. Look, firstly, hyaluronic acid is well known to put in skin, so you can put it on topically. Every cream, every man, his dog's got it topically.
So it does work topically?
It does work topically.
Yep.
Short amount of time, goes in your skin, works, and then grows out. Because that's how the skin grows.
And what does it do?
All right. What it does is it helps form collagen in your skin.
Right.
Now, collagen pushes out the wrinkles. I'll do a bit of a camera here. It pushes out the wrinkles. So
we could even put up a graphic.
Yes, we could. There is a graphic
If you're
here.
following us on YouTube with our 200 people that do, as opposed to we get hundreds of thousands of downloads on.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know, because I think people are listening in their car and all the rest of it. But if you want to see what we're talking about, and Steve, you explain it, jump onto YouTube and have a look.
Absolutely.
If not, Steve, explain it.
All right, I'll explain it for the people. It basically, if you think of a wrinkle as a crevice, like the Grand Canyon, we'll blow it right up. Well, when you grow collagen from the inside out, it pushes up and fills in the hole, so the wrinkle goes away. The wrinkle is caused by contraction of muscle.
Right.
Okay? So the other way...
Which is why when you smile, you get more wrinkles, right?
Correct.
Right.
And the way to relieve that is by injecting yourself with botulinum toxin or Botox, and that relaxes the muscle and goes away. That's not one of the top 5, by the way, but that's how Botox works.
Yeah.
And it does, relaxes the muscle and you don't get any wrinkles. But this fills the wrinkle out. So when you grow the collagen from the inside out, and there's a couple of things that grow that collagen, and the most important one we'll get later.
Okay.
But number 2 is hyaluronic acid. Now, hyaluronic acid topically grows it out, and then, of course, it grows out of your skin.
Yep.
But if you take it orally, it can work, but it has to be a specific size hyaluronic acid. And this is where it gets tricky.
Interesting. Now, Steve.
Yes.
I always rely on, and there might be other words that you use, but the Dalton size, which is the particle size, right?
Yes.
And again, this is fascinating because in terms of oral bioavailability, topical bioavailability, I still am hung up on the idiots out there that say that things can't pass through your skin, Steve. Anyway, but just let's just leave that to the side. There's my trigger. You want to.
Yeah, I know, it is a trigger. It really is annoying.
All right, but the Dalton size, Steve. So the hyaluronic acid working from an oral point of view, yes or no? Can it be done?
Yes.
Yes.
And I can prove it with a 2021 study.
Great.
Now, there's been double-blind trials, and I'll pick them. Now, interestingly, the size they use is 0.5 or 2 by 106 Dalton. So it's just the size of the Dalton. So it has to be...
That means nothing to me, Steve. Is it small enough?
Yes.
Okay.
It has to be... So there's two ones that work very well, and they both work equally well, and so they're both tested and they work orally. Now you've got to remember this is fairly new.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting there going, BS, I was going to swear, BS, it doesn't.
Humbug, Steve, that's what you're saying.
It doesn't work orally well, it does. And I'll take you to a 2021 study. It was a placebo-controlled randomised double-blind trial, so it's the best type.
How many people in the study?
In this case, there was 40 healthy Asian men and women aged 35 to 64. So what they did, so it's placebo-controlled and all this sort of stuff, and very, very well randomised. After 12 weeks, skin condition was significantly improved in terms of wrinkle assessment, stratum corneum or water content, so it helps with moisturisation and reduces the wrinkles.
Right, okay.
And that was compared to the placebo.
Okay. So I know that we've spoken about this before, and obviously it's difficult to ascertain exactly the improvement, so it is more of a observation study?
Correct.
Yeah.
They just had less wrinkles at the end of it.
Yep.
Now, they used 120 milligrams in that trial.
Right.
So anything north
per
of...
day?
Per day.
Yep.
Yeah, once a day. So anything works on that works great. So, and that was, of course, 2021 study. Now, there's been other studies too. There was 52 Korean women aged 30 years with the crow feet, which are the size, placebo-controlled trial. Again, significantly less wrinkles compared to the placebo group. They just had less wrinkles. Because you can get a very close-up camera and see the small ones, and there was just less of them after the treatment.
That's good.
Incredible. So as you can see, we're talking weeks here. So not like years and years. And it is about 8 weeks seems to be the sweet spot.
Really? Okay. That is good. I mean, with a lot of things like hair, for example, realistically, you need to see 9 months worth of, because that's obviously the telophase. But so as little as 8 weeks.
Yep, absolutely.
That's really impressive.
You've got to remember the epidermal turnover is 28 days, so it's about a month.
Okay.
So you just do a couple of those. Another one, 120 milligrams per day, 35 to 64-year-olds, randomised, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, improved dramatically after 8 weeks again. And continued after 12 weeks as well. So it really does work. So that's 120 milligrams, which seems to be the sweet spot.
Okay.
So very, very interesting. Now, what we know about hyaluronic acid is that as we age, it just declines in the skin.
Right.
And so that's one of the effects of aging is, the big question, what the studies are saying is it wrinkles from you getting old, or is it wrinkles from you reducing hyaluronic acid?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So it's that big a deal.
It's that powerful. It made number 2.
Yeah.
3 and 4 and 5 are bloody good too.
Well, the other thing is, I was going to say, Stephen, is a bit of a, not that I want to, again, trample on your parade or sort of get things out of order, but is there a synergistic effect of utilising these products together in combination?
There is. And when I get to sort of 1 or 5, whichever way we go.
No, let's go to 5. We'll go to 5. Sort of like I've blown off the second most important, but we'll keep the jewel in the crown, the trump card, Steve, till the end. All right. So we'll go to 5. But yes, so in other words, as you're listening to this, you could look at combining some of these ingredients.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Because hyaluronic acid is one ingredient of the collagen that makes it grow.
Right.
The other one to make it grow is I'm going to call it number 5.
Number 5
is vitamin C / antioxidants.
Right. Now, I know, Steve, that every puff of the cigarette that anybody has reduces the vitamin C, which is why you see people who are smokers typically, unless they have ridiculous amounts of collagen and or vitamin C, they are wrinklier. Their skin becomes leathery and they become aged, weathered. More, Steve. I mean, we know the same thing, obviously, with people who spend a lot of time out in the sun as well, too. Sun damage and exposure, but smoking, and that's all to do with the destruction of vitamin C. Correct.
Now, of course, vitamin C is needed for all sorts of things in the body, and we won't go into that. And smoking is bad for your lungs and heart and everything else. But forget all that.
Steve, we can get people to stop smoking if we just tell them it makes you ugly.
I wanted to, and when I was with the ATMS 10 years ago, I wanted a campaign where you could say that smoking causes wrinkles and causes impotence.
Does it cause impotence?
It does cause impotence. In the penis, you've got micro blood vessels, and blood vessels...
Mine aren't so micro, Steve. But just that might be you, but not me. Mine are actually quite macro, but anyway. You're going.
Okay. Just the thoughts. Remember, I just saw a photo of you in your underwear a few minutes ago.
Well, but you owe me $2.50 for that.
Okay. So the blood vessels, whatever size they are in your penis, get damaged from smoking like they do in your heart.
Right.
And so what the blood vessels do is they need to dilate to get blood to that particular area to grow it.
Yeah.
Now, if the blood vessels are damaged, then they can't dilate, they can't fill up the penis with blood.
So, for guys and girls, obviously, if performance issues are a problem in the bedroom, for guys, stop smoking.
It's a well-known cause of impotence.
Steve, I did not know that. And I consider myself to be relatively,
There was one ad I saw...
Well, half intelligent anyway.
Well, no, there was one ad I saw, and maybe we can find an image and inject it later. Where No.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah. No,
phrasing.
G-rated.
Phrasing.
There is an image of the Marlboro man with a cigarette in his mouth, and it's drooping.
Oh.
And I hope I can find it now. I've opened up. If it is, we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah.
It's a great photo. So if you because people, heart disease, smoking, everyone knows how bad is cancers.
Yeah.
But if it causes wrinkles and causes impotence, I mean, everyone's worried about impotence, and women, most don't want to sound sexist, but most of them worry about wrinkles.
Yeah, especially between the age of 30 and 60. Is that right?
That's exactly right. That's why all the trials you'll see are on that age group.
Yeah.
After 60, what we find with women is that when they're surveyed, they don't worry about it as much. They just accept it as part of getting older.
Yeah.
And you've got to remember, wrinkles won't kill you. So there is a demographic, usually men, that don't care about it.
But, yeah. What's interesting, I guess, is that as more treatments become available and science improves in this area, Steve, that might push out because, you can see some people that, are, as I said, sort of in their 60s and 70s and even older, and they're still looking really good for their age.
Yes.
And that's because they're taking care of themselves and using sorts of treatments and going and seeing, 𝗕𝗲𝗂𝗶𝗿𝗁, and I don't want to give any... You asked $1,000, 𝗕𝗲𝗂𝗶𝗿𝗁. No, I'm just kidding. Going and seeing, beauty spa treatment and all that sort of stuff, right? To look after their skin. So, wow. Doug.
Yes.
So Beck's dad, so your father-in-law.
Yeah.
He started which skin clinic?
Australian Skin Clinics.
So I want to have him on again because we had him on a while ago, but just to sort of get the low and dirty, what's going on out there in the cosmetic world, because it's fascinating.
It is fascinating. It really is.
Confessions of a cosmetic surgeon. Yeah, So we'll get him back on. But yeah, anyway. Yeah. I digress.
So let's go back to this vitamin C thing, because I highlighted vitamin C and everyone goes, boring vitamin C. But you've got an amino acid that most people ingest called proline. Now, I don't know if anyone's heard of that. And what proline does is when you take it with vitamin C, it turns into this other amino acid called hydroxyproline. Okay? And then hydroxyproline is one of the key building blocks for making collagen in the body.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a smoker, you're knocking out your vitamin C. That conversion process is not happening, so you get low levels of hydroxyproline, and therefore you get wrinkles.
So let's say if someone's not going to change their way and they're a smoker, and they're getting proline from all of their amino acids, grains, meats, wherever it comes from, right? Yeah. And Steve, I don't know which ones are deficient in proline and which ones aren't, but typically if you're eating a well-balanced diet, you're getting proline in your diet.
Sure.
Hydroxyproline, as far as the consumption source is concerned, it really only comes from collagen protein, correct?
It does. There are vegan sort of sources you can get to.
Very rare, though.
Yeah, they're very rare. They're very rare. And that's actually ingredient number 4.
Okay. What's that?
Hydroxyproline.
Oh, there you go.
That one is...
That was a nice segue.
Yeah, it is. It's well done, too, perfectly on that one.
You're welcome.
So all right. Let's get the ultimate person together, and they've got all the money, and they get the supplements.
The ultimate person.
The ultimate person who wants to get rid of their wrinkles.
Oh, right, okay, right.
Really, really want to get rid of it. Like these are the ones
they're motivated. They are they're sick and tired of being ugly.
Yep. They're this far from getting an injection. From Doug or anyone, just around the. So
because injections work, Steve.
They work. Oh, work beautifully.
And they improve, right? Massively.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is, there's a way that we can do that naturally.
Yeah.
That's less invasive.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper.
Yeah.
If you look at the cost of these ingredients.
Oh.
And
the injections expensive.
Yeah.
They are expensive.
But you might, instead of getting injections every month or every couple of months, it might go down to every 6 months.
Exactly.
Anyway.
And all we're talking about is that, hyaluronic acid, which is completely safe to ingest orally. Yep. We know people have taken that for, a year, even up to 200 milligram doses, and it's improved their arthritis. So
that's fascinating.
It helps grow the collagen in the joints.
Right.
So, if you take 200 milligrams, you'll help your joints as well.
Wow.
That's just, that's incredible. And that was a study done, in 70-year-olds. So there's lots of evidence on this. So as a side effect of all these things, like taking vitamin C, you'll get a better immune system and all sorts of stuff, but your wrinkles as well. Now the hydroxyproline...
And you don't need thousands of milligrams by the way either. This is, again, we did a podcast on vitamin C and 1,000 milligrams, 2,000 milligrams. And by the way, the myth of it actually helping with the cold is virtually negligible. I think for the flu... It actually improved or reduced your symptoms by over a 48-hour period, I think by 2 hours.
Yes.
So, taking huge amounts of vitamin C if you've got a cold is actually one of these myths that's still, continuing to this day.
Yeah.
You only need, is it 160 milligrams of vitamin C? I forget.
Yeah, to saturate the tissue is about 160 to 200 milligrams.
Yep.
Anything beyond that, I mean, you can take it as a medicine for all sorts of other weird things, like IV things, but, you know, you can help with your bowels if you're constipated. Yeah, no, it does.
It's a laxative.
I used to give it for a laxative many years ago.
But realistically, I mean, see, if you're eating a good diet full of fresh fruit and vegetables, 200 milligrams,
ample.
Probably enough.
So you know, but let's say you've got.
But you know what's funny though, and I'll just say that some naturopaths have actually said that they're experiencing children that have got the beginning of scurvy, like even in Australia, even in the West, because they're eating so much packet and refined foods. They're not eating their fruit and vegetables. And look, a lot of people on the go as well can be too, especially if you're microwaving your food, if you're not eating fresh and local, you're eating food. This is why some supplementation with vitamin C, even though you only need a small amount, is not a bad idea. No. So, yeah, again, consider your lifestyle, consider what's going on, and, maybe look at the vitamin C. Anyway, sorry, I digress, Steve. So proline.
Yeah, proline. Hydroxyproline is a great one to supplement, because let's say that conversion to proline, hydroxyproline is, because not every body works perfectly. So sometimes there are inborn metabolic errors where you can't convert proline to hydroxyproline effectively. Right. You know, there's a polymorphism, or is that what they say, or a SNP, which is a singular nucleotide polymorphism. And you just can't make it. So another way to do it is to supplement with hydroxyproline.
Right. So which used to be a lot more difficult than it is today.
It is, and you know, you can consume collagen. Yep. Or you can, you know, get the supplementation of hydroxyproline if you're a vegan. Yep. So I'm trying to cover both bases there. Yep. So that's a very, very good supplement, because that is one of the key amino acid building blocks that is only found in collagen. Right. You know, you don't get it out of your diet naturally. No. It's a weird one.
And vegan sources, we went hunting for it, Steve, and it's hard to find.
Very hard.
We did find it, but it's hard to find.
Yeah. It's a tricky one to get. So it's an amazing amino acid that if you're ingesting, then you know you're maximising your collagen production. Yeah. So that's a good one to take.
So it's a foundation building block. So vitamin C and with proline or hydroxyproline is sort of almost like that material that you need to be there. Yeah. And that's sort of what the other ingredients sort of use to construct the wall, if that makes sense.
Correct. And you mentioned, you pointed to your face then, for those who are listening. In the face is the very first area where you're getting symptoms of low hydroxyproline.
Right. What does that look like?
For example, if you bite into an apple and your gums start to bleed. Yeah. Or you're chewing on nuts and the gums start to bleed. The gums could have strong collagen in there to protect from the micro damage you're doing when you're chewing. Yeah. Now, bleeding gums is a terrible sign of scurvy. And we see that in heavy smokers or kids that are having cocoa pops for breakfast, a cheese sandwich for lunch, and noodles for dinner. Yeah. You know, there's just no vitamin C.
No vitamin C. Yeah. And again, this is funny. This is where that terminology came, Steve, as we get older as well, too long in the tooth, because the gums actually recede as we age as well too. But again, healthy gums are really important. Oh, yeah. I mean, even from a point of view of getting gingivitis, you don't want a mouth condition to actually end up affecting your heart, which fascinates me, right? Yeah. So much of oral health care and being beautiful on the outside, it isn't just skin deep. As my father used to say, you know, beauty, they may say beauty's only skin deep, but ugly goes all the way. But the thing is, Steve, is that is true though. Yeah. If you're looking after your nutrition and what you eat, then you know that's going to be reflected in how you look and feel.
Well, my wife Becky worked in the cardiovascular unit for a long time at the hospital, and as part of their cardiovascular assessment, they would have a dental checkup.
Wow.
Because that's how important it is.
Gingivitis, right?
Yes.
Big one.
Yes. It leads to a chronic inflammation that's there 24/7. Now, inflammation is bad for all sorts of things, bad for your wrinkles, but also bad for your heart. And they now term it inflammaging. Which is, I know. It's like something we came up with, but it's in the medical
literature. It is like something we came up with.
I didn't make it up, but it's
inflammaging.
Because it does drive aging. It drives wrinkles as well.
All right.
So any sort of inflammation is terrible.
Are we ready to go to number 3?
Absolutely, we are.
Let's go to the next level, Steve.
Okay, you ready to spell this one? I'll pronounce this one. Astaxanthin.
Oh, yeah. I know astaxanthin.
It's the most beautifully coloured supplement around.
Yeah. And typically it was mostly originally when it was harvested and put into products, it was from salmon, I believe.
Yeah, and the colour of salmon is that. Now, astaxanthin, of course, was first isolated in 1939 from the crustaceans. You know how they had the pink colour and the crustaceans? That's astaxanthin.
Wow.
Now, obviously, if you're eating salmon and you're having a lot of these crustaceans in your diet, good on you, that's fine. Yeah. That's going to give you astaxanthin, but it's also very difficult to get enough of. Now, why is it so important for your skin?
Steve, you took the words out of my mouth. Why?
Because it has extraordinarily high affinity for the skin.
Right.
So it's one of those antioxidants that really makes its way to the skin because it's oil soluble and it's a carotenoid.
Right.
So it works like vitamin A.
Right.
So, but in a much more effective way of reducing wrinkles.
Okay.
Now, there's been 11 clinical trials on astaxanthin.
Yep.
Showing that it benefits wrinkles. I've got a few here.
Yeah, go on. Go.
There's a few.
Give me some of your science, mate.
All right. A randomised double-blind placebo-controlled trial. 30 to 56-year-old Japanese women took astaxanthin, only 4 milligrams.
Yeah.
But that's the dose that works for 10 weeks. And the treatment group had reduced loss of skin moisture, increased a minimal reddening of the skin compared to the placebo group, and they had a much greater improvements in skin appearance and texture as well. So very good.
Wow.
Another study, I'm just going to run through this quickly, 4 milligrams again, randomised, double-blind, 35 to 65-year-old, average age 44. This study was done in Thailand. They found that it decreased the crow's feet wrinkle depth and increased moisture content of the skin.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just that one ingredient?
One ingredient.
So therefore I'm taking 5, 4, and 3 so far.
So far.
All of them. Oh, and 2 because I've already let the cat out of the bag with that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's pretty impressive, Steve.
Well, it gets better. I mean, in one of the papers, and I've got the thing out here, the way it works is it certainly improves the skin barrier function, decreases wrinkles, decreases water loss, but very importantly, decreases UVA-induced damage. Now, UVA-induced damage is one of those things that cause a very bad skin disease.
Yes.
Very bad.
Yes.
We won't talk about that. But
So Steve, is there any research, and again, I'm asking for a friend. I've got very badly sun-damaged skin. Is there anything after the... prevention is always better than cure.
Yes,
and that old saying, a pinch of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? Is there anything... Does this help after the fact?
It does. It repairs the skin.
All right.
Absolutely.
I'm going to get some.
And so even if you've got wrinkles now, this reduces them.
Okay.
So that's how good this is now. Now, the important thing here is all these studies are the same dose, which is 4 milligrams.
Yeah.
So if you've got to get us up with 4, some of them have 1,
right.
Some have 2. You've got to find one with 4 milligrams in it, and that's what. And this was over 8 weeks.
And what's interesting as well too, Steve, and again, similar to hydroxyproline, typically the sources of astaxanthin come from salmon, fish. But we've actually found one out there that comes from algae.
Algae, yeah.
And they crack it, I think, with CO2.
Yeah.
But it's funny, if you want to look at salmon, pink and sort of red in colour, the other one you mentioned to me the other day was flamingos.
Yes.
Because they eat astaxanthin. And is it the algae that they
the
eat?
algae. You see them sort of dipping down and scooping off, and the pink flamingos turn pink because of this stuff. They obviously have a lot of it.
Yeah.
They eat a lot of algae. So you see their little bills scooping down there and digging up all the algae on the bottom.
Yeah.
This algae sits in very shallow lakes which are heavily exposed to UV radiation, and they protect themselves by making this stuff. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's got a great affinity. It's fat soluble. It works in the skin, reduces oxidative damage in the skin too when they test it too. So
it's a really good preventative effect for skin diseases.
Yep.
Skin. And the big C word that we are always nervous about mentioning.
Yes.
Because we never know if paratroopers are going to bust through the doors, and Steve and I are going to be hog-tied and gaffer-taped.
I'd like that. It'd be
taken
fun. I'm joking.
I'm not. They're coming for you first, Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Those handcuffs are
really?
very
rubber baton.
Yeah. Loves it.
So
anyway.
But yes. So, you go into a detention centre.
Yes, absolutely.
But obviously very, 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 very good product. So that's another really good one.
A really good one because it has other side effects. It's very good for your eyes.
Yeah.
Extraordinarily beneficial for the eye. Very good for a condition called ARMD too.
Is that night blindness?
No, that's age-related macular degeneration.
Oh, right, okay.
A really bad one that causes blindness in the elderly typically. And because it's free radical damage. Because you've got to remember a lot of People don't wear sunnies when they're out. Like think of the old farmer guy who's been looking in the sun, for 60, 70 years. That just leads to free radical damage and ARMD, age-related macular degeneration. This protects against it too.
Wow.
So as I said, we're not talking about Botox, which is literally a toxin, botulinum toxin. The side effects of these are good for you. I mean...
What did botulism used to do? It used to kill people, didn't it, Steve?
Yes, it did.
How did it kill people?
Because muscle paralysis and they couldn't breathe.
Oh, so, how did people catch it?
You catch it from infection.
Right.
It's
botulism. Because, I mean, didn't this used to be something back in like the 16 and 1700s? I died of botulism.
Yeah.
Right? But who thinks of that? Hey,
I know.
There's some deadly material. Let's see if we can make people beautiful with it.
It does. It paralyses your muscles. The other thing is they're using it for disabilities, for people with like a...
Oh, yes, spasms and stuff.
And it relaxes the muscles. So, I mean, you put it in your face, it takes about a week to work, and then it lasts about 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
So it certainly does relieve your wrinkles. So. Yeah. And there's no... it won't tox you out. It's not that bad, but it's just got a terrible name.
Yeah.
Botulinum toxin.
Yeah. It's interesting because my understanding is that number 2, hyaluronic acid, actually also comes from a toxin as well too. Yep. That's how they manufacture it.
You can manufacture that way.
Well, on that, I've actually been talking with somebody about making it from a non-toxic substance, and initial studies are showing that it is 400% more effective than the original hyaluronic acid.
And the original stuff's fantastic.
So I'm really excited about that, Steve, and I'll be working on that closely with our partners too.
Is this confidential or is it...
No.
Okay.
No, because I'm not mentioning who it is and exactly what's happening with it. But yeah.
Is it going to be topical or oral?
Potentially both, but definitely topical.
Right.
But yeah, we're now looking at what happens when it's taken orally as well too. So, but yeah, it's proven topically.
Yeah.
But yeah, orally, I think it'll work as well.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
Yep. So anyway, so that's was there anything else with 3? What was 3 again, Steve?
3. Well, that's the astaxanthin. That's 3.
Yep.
Really good stuff.
Anything else you want to talk about that?
No, just
but it's pretty awesome, pretty good. Good for you, and obviously makes you look good as well too, which is cool.
Really,
I mean, again, I always think, do I really want botulism injected into my face? Because it could. I mean, I know it's safe, Steve, and it's been proven to be safe, but I mean, it's a pretty strange concept when you really think about it.
I think it's strange, but it's only temporary and it's expensive.
Yeah.
So think about... I mean, we don't want
to do Doug out of your father-in-law.
But it works.
I don't think he'll ever be out of business, let's face it.
Oh, well, he does more than that. You want your lips fattened up, or
I do.
As Beck did, had her cheeks fattened up.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yes. Yeah, it'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You want your chipmunk cheeks back.
Yeah, it's funny. Tony used to laugh about it all the time. She had real chipmunk cheeks when she was younger. As you get older, they sort of go away, right? So.
Well, Beck's have gone away, but she had some filler. Looks great now.
Does she?
She doesn't mind me saying, because it's obvious. You can see a change in her face.
Wow.
Yeah, looks good.
Oh, look,
she's got little chipmunk cheeks.
If the wagon needs painting, Steve, as I say, so take the wagon.
Mine does too.
Yeah.
I need a few things.
I don't know.
Scary stuff. But are we up for number 1 now?
Well, are you ready to go there?
Oh yeah, there's a lot about number 1.
All right. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
All right, go for it.
It is called Verisol.
Verisol.
And is a type of collagen.
Yes. Now, this is really interesting. Let me go back, in terms of way back when. We saw, 8 years ago, that collagen was the way forward, I think, in terms of protein sources. I mean, it's unbelievably good for you, as
Very
well
good.
as good for building muscle tissue. I mean, it works on different things. But what this German company started doing was actually isolating different peptides. Steve, do you want to sort of explain the science behind like a peptide and sort of what it does? And
a peptide is a protein that does things in the body, and depending on the length and the shape of it, does different things. So like a peptide, and I'll go off topic a bit here, but is insulin.
Yep.
Whereas you take someone that binds to insulin receptor and lowers your sugar.
And that's just a group of amino acids that are joined in a particular sequence, right?
Yeah, correct.
And it's like again and again, I know we've used this analogy before, but just for new listeners, it's like a key into a lock.
Yep.
It goes into the body and it does something.
As
opposed to single amino acids, di-and-tripeptides, and your amino acids that you get from your food, they go into the body and then they are broken down, chopped down into di-and-tripeptides, which then they're absorbed and then they're used for repairing muscle tissue all sorts of other things, right? But these peptides are special.
Yes.
They are a certain sequence long, and then they come in, they're ingested into the body, they pass fully intact. Well, if you're ingesting them with insulin, obviously you're injecting it.
Yeah.
Some things are obviously coming in through the skin.
Yeah, I know.
Weird science.
And
they're coming in and they're obviously then going in to the receptors and unlocking the effects.
Correct. And this is doing the same sort of thing.
Right.
But it's the right size to get to the skin.
Right.
Now, you've got to remember that the average, if you just take collagen, I'm just saying normal collagen, because this is collagen.
Yep.
You just take normal collagen, it will go in there and break them down like the amino acids, like you say. If you get a small size of a type of collagen that they've nicknamed Verisol, or trademarked, or I should say nicknamed it, and that actually makes its way to the skin and fills up the collagen in your skin.
Right.
So it works absolutely incredible. Now, how do we know that works? It's because they've tested it.
Right.
They've done many, many studies on this, and there's loads of them. And the magic number that we have to remember is 2.5 grams.
Right.
Because that's the amount of Verisol that works. And we know that works because there's heaps of studies on this. And in fact, 4 weeks is when you start to notice a difference. So this is number one with a bullet. Incredible. So in this study, 69 women aged 35, 55 took Verisol. They had significantly higher skin elasticity, up to 15% higher compared to placebo. This effect could be measured just after 4 weeks of administration. So if you want to improve skin elasticity, and we'll get to the wrinkles thing and other beautiful side effects of this later, but that works within 4 weeks.
Wow.
Incredible, isn't it?
It's impressive, yeah.
I'll whip through some of these studies. What we want is a greater, what they call pro-collagen in the skin that fills out the wrinkles. Another study, 100 women aged between 45 and 65, oral administration of Verisol, 2.5 grams a day, significantly reduces wrinkles after 4 weeks and leads to a significantly higher skin pro-collagen concentration.
Wow.
I mean, how incredible is that? Absolutely incredible. So... But you're going to love it. I just love the side effects of this.
Yeah.
Because let's say you're a woman who's aging.
Yeah.
And let's say you're worried about your appearance. We've got your wrinkles covered.
Yeah.
The side effect of Verisol is it improves your cellulite.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's a big one.
That's a biggie. Because you've got to remember, cellulite is not just fat.
Yeah.
It's fat.
It improves the appearance, Steve.
Correct.
Right.
It won't burn your fat.
No.
But it will get rid of the orange peel effect. So let's talk about cellulite.
Yep.
We won't call it the name that I just called it that we've probably cut out.
Yep.
Because that's a bad one.
Yeah.
But we all know what cellulite is. It's that unsightly appearance.
Yeah.
And the collagen holds fat in place, okay?
Yep.
If the collagen breaks down, you get the lumpiness.
Well, it's where you can see some girls that are a bit bigger, a bit more overweight, don't have any, right?
Yeah.
Because they've got really powerful, strong collagen. And then you've got other girls that are quite lean, and yet they've got... Now, most women do have... And I love these, Instagram channels that are out there sort of showing a bit of the reality, that not everything's photoshopped and airbrushed and taken in perfect lighting, and then you see the photos, it's like... so it's not shameful to have it. It's part of nature, right? I mean, it's just the way things go. But, Steve, if you can do something about it to reduce it...
Yes.
I think if you ask 10 females, I reckon 9 out of 10 would say yes, and that other one's lying.
Yes. Well,
so, because, I mean, at the end of the day, who doesn't want to be more attractive? And in our society, and I think most societies, cellulite is considered to be unattractive.
Yeah, absolutely it does. And there are many, many studies showing that Verisol helps it. And there's a few here I've got. Now you've got to remember that the women get this typically because they menstruate and lose a lot of collagen.
Sorry, you just sounded like a cat then. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, cut. Go back. I'm just going to laugh, that's all.
So women menstruate.
Yes.
And they menstruate, they lose a lot of collagen. And the collagen needs to be replaced to improve their cellulite. So when we give them Verisol, what we find is that they improve after 3 to 6 months of now, that's a lot longer.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you have to be taking this stuff daily, 2.5 grams for 3 to 6 months, but it improves cellulite.
Wow.
And you know, it was noticeable after 3 months.
Yeah.
And after 6 months, it improved even further.
Wow.
So incredible. And what they did was they gave 2 ultrasound scans show side by side the skin of a participant and the placebo group, and basically you could show the difference between them. So even ultrasound, which is looking inside it, showed that the people on Verisol improved their cellulite structure dramatically.
Steve, I mean, I appreciate this is a pretty long study, but and I think I already know the answer to the question. 105 what?
Women.
Oh, I think that's pretty big. Was there an apex point? Like, in other words, was there a point that it improved and then it didn't improve any further?
They took it to 6 months where they found the maximum improvement and then stopped. And these were women that were less than 25 BMI. So these weren't overweight women.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because you see a lot of leaner women that just have bits.
Yeah.
We'll just call them bits.
Yeah.
That are a little unsightly for them.
I don't think we can talk about women's bits.
Oh, goodness. I don't
They
know.
have areas.
Areas, that's it.
They've got areas that have got a concentration of cellulite, even if they're relatively lean.
Correct.
So, okay. And was there a particular age in this?
Yeah,
study,
this study, they aged 25 to 50.
Oh, that's good. That's a good I thought
age.
they might have just done 25 to 35 or something, but that's good. 25 to 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a.
That's good.
So absolutely incredible. But it gets better for these women.
Wow. And there's more. I feel like you're going to give me some steak knives, Steve.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Probably for those people who are too young to remember that was the gag on TV. Remember the guy? He'd always say his steak knives with
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've got steak knives.
There's more.
I've got steak knives. You ready for the steak knives?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Fingernails. Who wants better fingernails?
Yes,
Everyone.
please.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, look, the funny thing is that I really don't care. I used to get white spots on my fingernails when I was younger, Steve, probably because I didn't have enough zinc.
Yeah.
I actually do now. I don't have any white spots on my fingernails. But I noticed the other day around the table we were talking with the 𝗕𝗲, are you allowed to say that? The lovely ladies.
Sex?
Can
we say sex?
No, I don't think we can. I think we just have to say women. Anyway, but we were talking to some ladies the other day, and I noticed that they were actually growing their fingernails. And I have a feeling, I don't know, in terms of the whole, and I love women are mysterious, beautiful creatures. They really are. But hair, skin, and nails, probably, I don't know, probably I reckon skin, hair, nails. I don't know which order.
Yeah.
Actually, it would be interesting what is the most important, but probably all three together, probably inseparable. But they're in the top 3, Steve, and the most important things.
My haircuts are $10. A women's are $300 to $400.
Steve, you do your own hair.
I go to a shop where they just, I don't believe it or not, and he just does it like he clips around there, number 2, and then just shorter on top, $10. It's just embarrassing, but you get the $10 note, you put it in the machine, you get a ticket and wait for it. I'm not joking.
That's just archaic. That is. I mean, they've got a machine. I mean, that's impressive. But $10 for a haircut.
$10 for my haircut.
It wouldn't take any more than about 10 minutes to cut your hair, would it?
Oh, nowhere near it. Nowhere near.
Whereas Tony goes to the hairdresser.
Tony doesn't have the longest.
It could be
hair.
like, babe, she's taking a packed lunch. I mean, like it could be, don't starve to death. I mean, when she gets home, it's 3 days later. There's just,
she's grown. She's aged a bit since.
It's just. I mean, she looks amazing, but But that's right, Steve. There's such a difference, right?
It is. So
how much do you spend on jocks, Steve?
Oh well, what are they at Kmart?
You get like a pack of 5 for like $20.
I think they come in packs of 7. The ones I get.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So a hell of a lot.
Yeah, like $20, $19.95 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
They wouldn't even buy, the crotch on most females' undies. You know that, right? Like they'll spend like $50 on a pair of undies.
You say crotch? Yeah. Okay. I know, it's nuts. Women get ripped off. They do. They. Mind you, Steve.
Yeah. I don't know if you've noticed, but female panties look very, very enticing.
Do they?
Well, they look very soft, as opposed to the bits of cloth that we have to wear, right?
Yes.
Which really are pretty disgusting.
You're saying we should be trying women's underwear?
I think we should.
Why not?
I mean, we deserve a little bit of,
It'll be nice against our skin.
Yeah. Well, I think we deserve a little bit of niceness.
Well, why not?
I think that we should start a movement, Steve, of panties for men.
Yes. I'm sure.
But I would happily spend, like, you know, a bit more.
The only time I've ever worn women's clothing was during a fun run. And I have to admit, wearing a short skirt was very, because it was a hot day, very breezy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, you're preaching to the converted, Steve, because I'm Scottish heritage.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We started it. We started the whole, the men's movement of wearing
I'm a little bit
kilts.
Scottish too. I could probably get away with it without being, what's the cultural appropriation?
And you know what?
What?
We didn't spend any money on underpants when we were at kilt.
Think about it. Maybe you should have. Yeah, I know they don't.
Anyway.
They don't.
All right, we digress. All right, so where are we up to?
Badly.
Yeah.
Fingernails.
Yes.
The side effect of taking Verisol is it improves your fingernails, after 6 months, their fingernails improved by 42% the strength.
I was going to say, what
strength,
metric
tensile
were they
strength.
looking at? So I don't know.
Yep.
But breakage, nail breakage is obviously not only is it just not, and it takes a long time to grow it back out again. It can be bloody painful as well too. But nail strength would probably be the gold standard.
Gold standard,
as far as nail health is concerned. Would you say?
They also test the women's perception of how they look doing their nails.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and 80% of the patients were completely satisfied.
Wow.
And satisfied with Verisol. Now remember, that's a placebo control group, so they didn't know they were taking it.
Yeah.
So the placebo went, did nothing for me. The other guy, 75%.
Wow. And of the 20% that were left over, no noticeable difference, or it didn't say? 80% is still pretty good.
80%. And 71% said that they grew their nails faster. Yeah. So there's 20 that didn't notice any difference.
Yeah, probably because either it wasn't important to them or because they weren't considering it. And this is funny because, I mean, again, you can improve significantly, but unless you have a standard of measure to go back to, that would be lost. So probably 100% of people had an experienced an improvement, but just only 80% were cognitive of it.
Yeah, and then it was stronger. The nails were definitely stronger by 42%.
Wow.
So that was an absolute, you could measure that.
That's great.
They bend it, obviously. So absolutely incredible. So that's on top of your cellulite improving, and more importantly, on top of your wrinkles improving.
Wow.
I mean,
I don't know.
Who would
I don't
want
know.
to?
I mean, it depends. Younger girls probably cellulite because younger girls don't have a lot of wrinkles, right?
Yeah.
But they might be going, you know what, wrinkles. Yeah, it's great to style them up. It's something that I can actually use, which can reduce the appearance of cellulite. Giddy up.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I was talking to a young woman who I think she works in the office here, so I won't mention her name.
Yeah.
But she's 23, so she's quite young.
Yep.
And she was more worried about her nails.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Like, I want my nails. But
she might not have any cellulite.
I don't know for sure.
We didn't ask.
I didn't look.
No.
I didn't ask. No,
Gosh,
don't look at women.
We're scientists.
Yeah, we don't.
I know that sounds really wrong, but this is actually for, like, we want to help women.
I know.
But that's a really good point, Steve. And I guess this is the thing, right? Depending on your age or depending on obviously your perceived concern.
Yes.
People are going to take it for nails. Some people are going to take it for cellulite, and some people are going to take it for wrinkles.
People have different. Like this young girl also said she had, what did she say? Chipmunk cheeks. So she wasn't worried about that.
No.
So, but some women might be like Becca's wife.
Yeah.
She wanted bigger, cheeks, and that's fine.
Yep.
But people want different parts of their body. But if we can have an oral supplement, just collagen, and remember, it's got no side effects.
And I guess this is the thing as well too, Steve, is that what we see unscrupulous marketers do is that they'll take this kind of research and then they'll talk about it out in the public like all collagens are the same.
Yeah.
And they're not. Again, this is a specifically designed key into a specifically designed lock.
Yeah.
So, yes, you can get the scattergun approach and you will get some benefits. And collagen is good for skin.
Yep.
We know that.
Yep.
But this is on a much, much higher research-specific level. Yep.
It's been tested.
Yep.
That's the difference.
Yep.
I know there are other collagens that help your body composition.
Sure.
Which are great.
Yeah.
And they may have a very mild effect because they're full of hydroxyproline.
Sure. Yeah.
So as a side effect, it'll help that.
Yep.
But this is really good for your skin.
Yep. Designed for it. Yep.
Probably won't help your body composition as much, but 2.5 grams of this, it's a very small amount.
Yeah, it's good.
And, I mean, just reviewing the 5 ingredients. Imagine if you're serious about getting your wrinkles good.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
You got Verisol, Astaxanthin,
Yep.
Hyaluronic Acid, vitamin C, hydroxyproline.
And away you go.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Just getting that to be, to improve your skin appearance.
Sounds like a good idea, Steve.
And what's today's podcast brought to us by?
Steve, it's Jupiter, Alpha Jupiter. So that's right. Thank you, Steve. Nice.
We love Jupiter, don't we?
So we do.
Yeah.
And so do our significant others.
Yes.
But we can't tell you why.
No, can't tell you why.
But Alpha Jupiter,
King of all the planets.
Yeah. That's right, Steve. King of the planets, right?
It is.
Which is good.
It's the biggest of them all.
No, yeah. Because we wouldn't want to call it Uranus, would we, Steve?
I think it's pronounced Uranus.
Uranus?
Yeah, well, that's out. But Australians take the slang, so...
No.
Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson calls it Uranus, but...
I don't know what's worse. Sounds like urinal.
Oh, it does too.
Yeah.
Uranus has got rings too.
I'm sure.
It's a rings planet.
I'm sure.
I think it's Uranus
because Saturn's got big ring.
It's got massive rings,
and it's ice, isn't it?
Yes, it's an ice giant.
Yeah.
So it's in the far reaches of the solar system.
So why are we talking about planets when we're talking about a product, Alpha Jupiter?
Yeah, I know. We can't say much about it.
We can't. But this episode is proudly brought to you by Alpha Jupiter. Recommend if you're a male to go and check that out.
Yes.
Females can kind of use it as well too.
They can.
But it's really designed not for your average female, maybe for your older females.
Yep.
But for guys.
Great for guys.
Absolutely for me personally, Steve, it's a product that is always number one on the top of my list to take.
Yep, me too. For really good reasons, but we can't say.
A nod and a wink?
Nod and a wink is about all we can say.
I don't even know if we could say that.
No,
you might have to cut that. Yeah. Don't know.
We
can't say anything.
No.
But yeah,
it's just great.
It's good.
It's massive.
Yeah.
It is. Jupiter's the biggest planet, so it's massive. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
So to recap, let's go through the top 5 again.
Yeah.
So say you're just deciding whether to get the Botox or not, or you're really seriously spending millions on a cream. If you can take some Verisol, the hyaluronic acid at the 2 size Daltons that we're after, Astaxanthin, that's the pond scum thing, and hydroxyproline and vitamin C.
Yep.
I mean, what a great arsenal for anyone who wants their skin. Yes, it'll help your nails, it'll help your cellulite, but to help your skin, particularly wrinkles.
Perfect.
What an incredible resume you've got there.
Love it. Excellent, Steve.
It's a good one.
On finishing up, we've already mentioned don't smoke. Let's mention some of the do nots.
Don't get excessively sunburnt.
Yeah. Don't smoke.
Yeah.
Avoid pollutants as well too. So I mean, obviously, whether that be xenoestrogens, so from plastics and that sort of stuff is really bad. Heating your food up in the microwave, again, because it's just infusing your food with, especially in plastic. If you're going to do it on a ceramic plate or something like that, China.
Don't have too many kids. Can we say
Don't have too many kids. Wow, Steve. I think we combat it in other ways. I think have lots of kids. We need lots of kids. What else? Bill Gates won't be happy about that.
Don't stress out.
This message is brought to you by Bill Gates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't smoke. Have we said that one?
Don't smoke, yep.
Yep, and also eat your green leafy vegetables.
Eat your green leafy, yep.
And don't have a low-fat diet.
Make sure you have plenty of water and stay hydrated.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
Well, essential oils.
What about sleep? Oh, yeah, essential oils. Omegas. Things like omega-3 and 𝗕𝗏𝗂𝗏 oil and that sort of stuff as well too. Omegas are really, really, really important. And it's something I think that people overlook. But as part of your skin health and beauty, I mean, omegas are good for a lot of things, but absolutely making sure you're getting your omegas. Sleep, Steve.
Sleep is very important.
Yeah.
Free radicals are released when you don't sleep enough. Also, your skin, your skin just breaks down.
Well, they call it beauty sleep, right?
They do.
And it's funny. So, and it's true. You know, obviously you need time to detox. Your brain detoxifies while we sleep. The
glymphatic system,
which is interesting.
Not lymphatic. Lymphatic.
Lymphatic, which is something they've only really discovered. But yeah, getting plenty of rest and sleep. Yep. Anything else?
No, that's about it. Once you can do all that sort of stuff and have a healthy diet with healthy fats, healthy antioxidants in your diet, keeping out of the sun, I think you're going to go a long way with these top 5 products to really have a significant impact on your skin in a very positive way.
Yeah.
You can't, I mean, the research is very clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good, isn't it? Finally. Because, you know, Wrinkles was just something you got.
Can we just talk just quickly about your wife?
Yes.
And your father-in-law. So your wife, tell the story, Steve, because she's been taking some of these ingredients.
Yes.
And obviously you're research science, right?
Yeah.
Right. So she's taken, how many of those 5 ingredients was she taking?
Just number 1.
Just number 1.
Just number 1.
Right.
That's it.
Okay.
She wants to take the other 4.
And just tell what happened.
Well, you know, she, you know, as I said, our father-in-law does this, and you know, so we get very, very cheap to free treatments.
Because I mean, Doug is the father of which skin clinic?
Married to Beck's. He used to own Australian Skin Clinics.
Yep.
He is Rebecca's mother's husband.
Right, and he's like a skin doctor.
Yep.
People would go to him with, you know, skin tags and moles and all that sort of stuff. But he would also do beauty treatments as well too.
Mainly cosmetics.
Mainly cosmetics.
Mainly
stuff, right?
cosmetics.
Yep. So Beck goes and sees him and gets the injection from time to time with the Botox.
Yeah.
So what happened last time?
Well, last time she didn't need many injections.
Why? What happened? Tell
Because
the whole
her
story.
skin looked terrific.
But I loved with the way
she's on Verisol.
Because you told me he pulls out the needle.
Yeah.
He looks at her face.
And I was like, and you need many. Just a little bit here. And I mean, that was it.
Because it was funny, right? He literally was like, hang on a minute. It's been a couple of months.
Hand. I was standing there too.
Yeah.
It was just like, you know. And you got to remember that most people with Botox have like machine guns all over, just little bits here and there.
Yeah.
You know, but she looks great now.
Wow.
Yes, she's got great cheeks down, but her skin looks terrific, and she's taking Verisol daily. Has been for a few months. She looks terrific. She doesn't smoke. She keeps out of. Oh no, she does. She goes to the beach a fair bit actually. She, you know. So, but you know.
Oh, and the other thing again in terms of do and do not. Don't use your long chain hydrocarbon. Shouldn't say don't, but if you can, use them because you know we have to stay consistent with the Australian.
Use natural
ones, right? It means you remember the old reef oil, Steve.
Yes, I do remember the reef oil.
And the funny thing is that does have an SPF in it from coconut, which is
4,
actually about 4.
Yeah.
You should be limiting your exposure in the sun anyway. You shouldn't really be going out in the middle of the day, regardless, right? But that stuff actually has an SPF and actually is very good for your skin.
Yeah.
But yeah, use zinc.
Zinc
is way better for you as a
It's certainly non-toxic because you need it. Without zinc, you die.
Yeah, but I'm talking a topical.
Oh, topical. It's very good for your skin.
Yeah.
Zinc is extraordinarily good. It helps to convert the carotenoids through to vitamin A in your skin. So use those creams that you're having that cost a fortune with hyaluronic acid and CoQ10 and retinol A and pro this and all the ads that you see. But that does it. We're growing your skin from the inside out.
Yeah.
Much more effective.
Yeah.
Much more effective.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it, the research nowadays?
Well, and, you know, I think there's always better ways and means to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and again, that's what we're always about, getting to the bottom line, Steve, and working out how we can help people.
Absolutely.
Mate, fascinating episode.
It is.
Love to have Doug back on again to talk some medical mysteries and, you know, best kept secrets of, you know, a cosmetic doctor.
Because his
it's fascinating.
And what he does, his treatments, they work. They're very good. A lot of women, mainly women, I don't know if you're seeing your men. I'm not sure.
Lord, Steve, seriously, all the time. Like, and it's becoming more and more, I think, that especially the younger guys, you know, they want to look good for as long as possible. So more and more guys are getting this stuff.
I know males in my family that get it from Doug.
Yeah.
So,
good on.
Not even that old either.
No. Steve, you're what, 53?
Everyone's younger, better.
Yeah. All right, Steve.
Yep.
Well, mate, good episode.
Great
Very
stuff.
interesting. Thanks, guys. If you've got any questions, please, you know, email them in, or jump onto our socials, leave a comment on YouTube, and we'll be back next week with some more.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Is that one or is that one gone?
We'll see.
Okay.
We're just pushing the envelope.
Yes.
To everything else, it's just bad. We are in trouble.
You have to redpin that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're in trouble. Yeah, I pushed it too far.
Well, that's subjective, Steve. What happens if they choose not to drive a Volvo?
Volvo.
Yeah. But yeah, iced Volvos and Volvos. I always get those mixed up. Sweet, I'm just going down the road for some iced Volvos. What?
Get in trouble. I'll be up for charges or something.
Steve, you can't say anything.
Video guy's crying.
It's just cut. It's just cut. All right, cut. Because otherwise we're going to sound like. Well, you're going to sound like a weirdo.
Oh yeah, I am a weirdo.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I know, but we don't need to advertise it.